how to feel at the moment. Let me ask you guys this, and I guess this is really more so for the gentlemen who watch the show, as that's a majority of my demographic here. Let me paint you an analogy just for a moment here, and I guess I'm going to use pickup as a analogy because I think this is a relatable thing for most men and most people in their life. You ever go out in public, whether it's the grocery store, the bar, the club, anywhere, the library even, in school, and you're just minding your business, doing your thing, and you see a girl that catches your eye. You see a pretty girl there, and you're just like, well, damn. I wouldn't mind going on a date with a girl like that. So, you're playing this mental gymnastics thing in your head, trying to come up with like a really good pickup line to, introduce yourself with, right? When all it really takes is just to go up to the damn girl and say hi and your name. And, I thought you're a pretty girl and I wanted to, just let you know that. And I wanted to stir up conversation. But I'm not giving you that whole spiel. But you sit there and you make eye contact with the girl and she makes eye contact with you. And you're trying to figure out whether or not it's a good time to approach. Should I approach? Should I do it? Should I really go about it? What if I get rejected here? And the next thing you know, it's gone in a flash. You missed the opportunity to potentially maybe change your life. Maybe you find that one. Maybe it is that special person in your life. Maybe it is somebody who can come in and at least give you a little bit of pleasure for a brief moment. Or it's an interaction where you're just like, you know what? I walked up to her. She might not have been interested in me. She might have said no. But you know what? I mustered up the courage to at least go there and ask, and I inquired, and I got my answer. I feel good about that. Right? Something changes when you at least attempt to do something. Something changes when you do something. Nothing changes when you do nothing. Okay? And that's kind of the point of that analogy, that point of the story there, okay? And how does that relate to what's going on in Philadelphia? Well, Philadelphia and the rest of the NFL just watched the trade go down between the Atlanta Falcons and the New England Patriots. Matthew Judon is now an Atlanta Falcon, and the Atlanta Falcons gave up a 2025 third-round pick to acquire his services. And now, I know he's in a contract year, and he's had a little bit of an issue with the New England Patriots, who offered him a contract. He rejected it, right? To me, that sounds like either they're not paying him enough money or he wants to play for a winner, okay? And New England, for the most part, with all due respect to the players there, and this is just relative to the rest of the NFL teams, the New England Patriots as a whole stink. And they're going to stink for a long time. And the players that they got on that roster, the talented ones, especially on defense, they're up for sale. It's a damn fire sale over there, okay? Because they know they're not going to be good for a long time. So why are they going to pay these guys, right? So you could be a contending team, go after some of their players for relatively cheap compensation, and bring them into your fray, and get a quality player. And to me, Matthew Judon is just that. And Philadelphia has questions at edge. They got questions with Bryce Huff. They got questions with Nolan Smith. And they got questions with the young front seven. And they're overly reliant on Jalen Carter, who's a stud, a superstar even, and Jordan Davis, who potentially can be a stud. Wouldn't it behoove them to at least have a veteran presence in the front seven? Do you agree or disagree with that? Let me know. But before I get into that, let me introduce the show. This is the Riding the Bench Eagles podcast. I am your host, Asif Biden, and I am a fan just like you, and all I do is give my opinions in regards to the team. I don't break any news. I'm not a news reporter. I have no incentive to give the news because, quite frankly, there are better people who do that, but I am here as a fan who wants to see the Philadelphia Eagles succeed, and in order to do that, I give my opinion, and maybe, just maybe, it falls to the right ears. Maybe the fans just agree with me or disagree with me, but regardless, all I want to do is open up conversation, and that's the point of this show, okay? So please, if you want to help this channel grow, hit the thumbs up button, hit the subscribe button. It'll help the channel grow organically, And that's all I'm asking you for. It's free. It's pretty, it's an inexpensive ask, but an ask nonetheless. And I appreciate the effort, and I appreciate you guys watching here. Let's go back to Matthew Judon and why I believe it's a completely missed opportunity by Philadelphia and Howie Roseman to bring him into the fray. I mentioned before Bryce Huff is a pass rusher that we signed in free agency, who basically is replacing Haason Reddick, who we acquired a third-round pick for. And say what you want about Haason Reddick, and I thought it was the smart move to trade him. One thing he was able to do was get after the quarterback, okay? And you knew for damn well he was a starting caliber player, albeit a guy who wasn't great against the run and was not willing to drop back into coverage like Fangio wants, but a guy who knows how to get after it and plays up and shows up relatively in big games, okay? Bryce Huff, on the other hand, while the potential for him is super high, it's still a question mark for the guy. He played on the Jets. He played half the snaps, got 10 sacks, which is phenomenal, but that doesn't necessarily extrapolate to him being like a bona fide pass rusher and a bona fide starter in the NFL. Like Haason Reddick had like damn near 1,000 snaps last year. He got 11 sacks. It was a down year and tailed off at the end of the season. Josh Sweat had his worst year basically, and he played damn near 1,000 snaps. Bryce Huff, he only played 400 snaps or something like that, if that. And yes, he got 10 sacks on 45% or 50% of the reps, but playing 100% of the reps here in Philadelphia, that doesn't necessarily equate you to being a 15, 16, 17 sack type of guy, which is I believe they're hoping him to be. But he's got to be able to set the edge. He's got to be able to play the run. He's got to be able to drop back. That's a lot of expectation and a lot of responsibility for a player that hasn't been asked to do that in his career. Hell, Vic Fangio has even told you the same damn thing. He even said the kid is a situational pass rusher at the moment. We're hoping he can develop to a 3-down player, but he's not there quite yet. We believe in him, but he ain't there yet. You know who is there, though? Matthew fucking Judon. That dude can play some goddamn football. He knows his way around the game. He knows the field. He's a veteran player. Played with Bill Belichick, mind you. So being coached hard is not necessarily an issue for him. He wants to play for a contender, a team that's willing to go after it and try to shoot for wins here. And all you had to do was trade a third-round pick. You got 9 picks in this upcoming draft in 2025. And you acquired a third-round pick from the New York Jets. You're telling me you couldn't have traded your own pick for a guy like Judon and put him in your front 7 to be not only just a bona fide pass rusher, who a guy that the other opposing offenses have to at least account for on the edge? Be like, well, damn, you got Jalen Carter in the middle, you got Jordan Davis there, and you got Matthew Judon coming off the edge, and now you got Bryce Huff one-on-one. All of a sudden, that makes it just a little bit easier for this defense to play a little bit more freely here. Helps out the linebackers, helps out the defensive backs. All of a sudden, Vic Fangio has a lot more tools in the toolbox that he can use to help out the young bucks on this defense and long-term success here. A third-round pick is all it took to get a guy like that, a veteran player who just knows how to prepare for games, who could teach the young guys in the front 7 like Carter, like Davis, like Smith, like Bryce Huff, how to prepare, how to look at schemes, how to look at gaps on the offensive line. Playing for a coach like Bill Belichick, the one thing you know for damn sure you know how to do is how to prepare for a goddamn football game. And the Patriots, the reason they stunk last year wasn't because of that damn defense. And he's a bright spot on that defense. A couple years ago, he had damn near 16 sacks. The guy can play, and he can drop back. He can play the run. He's a bona fide player, a veteran player who just understands the game. And that's invaluable. Hell, look at what James Bradbury's doing on the back end for Philadelphia. They keep him on because, quite frankly, he just knows how to play the game. Maybe he's a step slow and he can't cover man-to-man, but you know what he is? A veteran who knows how to prepare, a true professional, comes in ready for the most part in terms of being intellectually there on the football field and understanding zones and schemes and offenses and all that stuff. That's why they're keeping him on. That's why Vic likes him. You're telling me that wouldn't have been the same for Matthew Judon at worst, and all it cost you with a third-round pick? To me, that would have been worth it. And if you did decide to sign him for a longer-term deal, I'm sure he wouldn't ask for $30 million over the course of 2 years. Hell, if he asked for $30 million over the course of 2 years, I would have given that to him. Hell, if he would have asked for $45 million over the course of 2 years, that's worth it for a player like Matthew Judon. You would have been willing to pay that for Hassan Reddick. And Matthew Judon, I know, at least in my opinion, is a better ball player than Hassan Reddick. This was a completely missed opportunity by Howie Roseman. And they keep playing this weird game where my gut feeling is that they're going all in on this offense for 2024. And they're saying, let's see what the defense does in 24 and we'll kind of roll the dice here. It's like you're pushing your chips all in to go for it for the Lombardi this year, but you're just like, I don't know what the phrase is, but it's like you're like hedging your bet for 25, and you're like, that's really the year we're going to go for it. And to me, that sounds like bullshit. I get it that you have this offense and you re-signed all these players, but like you got Nick Sirianni's on a 1-year deal. Kellen Moore is basically on a 1-year deal because if he has a great year, he's getting a head coaching job, whether it's with Philadelphia or somebody else. Vic Fangio's going to stay, but all the coaches that are with Philadelphia, with Kellen Moore and all that, they're going to go if he gets a head coaching job. And then you're going to be back in a situation where you have to figure out your offensive coordinator again. And Nick Sirianni is on a 1-year deal. You didn't re-sign him to a new contract. You want to see how it played out this year. And the only way I think that the team believes we're not going to get rid of him is if he gets to a Super Bowl. Once again. And then you got this defensive coordinator here. You got the defense, the youth, and all that stuff. And I get you're trying to build what Kansas City did with the young defense who eventually grows into being a really, really incredible unit with a lot of, stalwart pieces. Damn, having a veteran in your room who just knows how to prepare is so invaluable. And the front seven on this defense, they lost Fletcher Cox. And I know they got Brandon Graham and Josh Sweat and all that stuff, but having another guy just to be another body, another player just to get after the quarterback who teams have to account for is just so damn valuable. It really, really is. And, he could drop back, he could play the run, he could set the edge, he can get after the quarterback, he could teach the guys just how to prepare for the longevity of the season, understands gaps. I like all that stuff that a veteran player brings is invaluable. And I think we just missed the boat. And it's so damn disappointing because I felt like that could have been a huge piece on this defense. I know everybody wants to get Justin Simmons and all that stuff. And you're like, we got to trade for wide receiver 3 and all that. You get a player like Matthew Judon in the building, and your defense all of a sudden has just that much less question marks. And then wide receiver 3, hell, I think Paris Campbell could do an okay job. Kellen Moore's offense is about moving guys from the outside, putting them in the slot, putting A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith in the slot. Wide receiver 3 is not that huge of a need. You just need to be able to be productive when your number gets called upon. I think Covey and Campbell can do that. Hell, I think Johnny Wilson can even do that. But this defense, man, there's too many question marks here on the defensive side of the ball. And you got too weak of linebacker play to believe that, our pass rush can, I shouldn't say that, even though it is weak. You got too many questions in the front seven and too many questions with our pass rushers here, with Nolan Smith and Bryce Huff in particular, where you think you could just go into the season and believe that they're going to get home. They have not proven they can do that. And if you at least had a guy who at least proved he can go ahead and do that, to at least spell for one of them, can you imagine if Judon and Bryce Huff are in one set, and then the next set it becomes Josh Sweat and Nolan Smith off the edge, or you mix it up and put Judon and Smith and then Brandon Graham and Bryce. I mean, like you would have a whole rotation of bona fide rushers and giving a spelling for Bryce Huff and Nolan Smith, guys who are not going to be ready to play 500, 600 snaps on the year, just to give them more time just to get acclimated. I don't know. I think it's invaluable. I think we missed an opportunity here, and I really wish Howie Roseman just pulled the trigger and just kind of bit the bullet and just said, you know, as much as I want to draft a young defense, too good of an opportunity to pass up. And listen, there's plenty of other pass rushers out there and plenty of other guys who are available on the defensive line that you can go after with draft compensation. I'd really hope Howie Roseman is keeping that bullet in the chamber, so to speak, to pull the trigger down the road. It's still early, but man, I don't know. Completely missed opportunity, in my opinion. Hey. Thank you so much for watching the Riding the Bench Eagles podcast. If you want to continue to support the channel, please hit the like and subscribe button down below. Also, check us out on Instagram and TikTok at Riding the Bench Eagles Pod. We're also on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, you name it, we're on there. Thank you so much for listening, and please join us next time here at the Riding the Bench Eagles podcast.